Welcome, Aleia. Hi.
Hi,
Yay, I'm
Sherry.
so excited. I think what you have to offer is so unique. And more than anyone, you've been involved in the CBD hemp oil business for longer than anyone I know. So she's the person with
Yes.
with the experience.
When you say that, I don't know how many years it's been now. Three to four, I'd say, somewhere in there. So that's not a very long time. But when it comes to CBD, when my son first looked at doing a CBD oil extraction business, he said he came to the conclusion there wasn't enough money in it. And about 6 months later, I had a night where I dreamed about hemp all night, all the different aspects of hemp. And I called him up the next morning and I said, I think you need to revisit this CBD oil business. And that's when he did and said, oh, things have changed radically in the 6 months. And yes, there is money in it. And that's when he started.
And besides money in it, there is a lot of healing properties associated with it. And that's one of the reasons we called you in today, because we're not really looking to find out about the financial aspect, but we want to know what you know about all the healing benefits. So we're going to start with some of the people that you've known and some of your own experiences in what's happened when ingesting or taking it on, putting the oil right on your skin. But I'd like to start with a little bit more about the CBD oil that you've been involved with. I understand that it's 0.3% THC or less. And
that's the definition of hemp. Hemp has 0.3% or less THC.
Okay. And is this something that can be shipped to every state in the union?
Yes.
Okay, because it only has that small percentage. And do you have any other products available that have more or less THC in it?
No. That's the standard. The oil is extracted and sent to a lab to be tested. And in order for them to put it into any product, it has to go through that testing process. And they do that with every batch of hemp they purchase. They don't grow hemp. They buy hemp from the farmers that are growing it. The amount of hemp being grown in Colorado has expanded exponentially in the last 3 or 4 years. And so anyway, all the products have that basic full spectrum oil, all extracted with a CO2 machine at this point in time.
Okay. And so because your family members have been involved in the extraction business, you've had a lot of it to test it, correct?
Right.
And I've heard stories from you that some of the people you've tested have had some pretty amazing results.
Right. I don't know about tested, but for me personally, when I started taking it, I couldn't believe it. I've always slept fairly well, but it was a whole different level of deepness and a whole different level of feeling rested and not really needing as much sleep.
Really?
Because I slept so soundly. And I have many people that I have shared that with have tried the CBD oil for sleep, and a lot of them it works for them, and for some people it doesn't at all.
Okay.
So hemp is a plant, and it's just like broccoli or something of that nature. Each of us individually have our own response to the plant. So where one person, it makes them wide awake, and then another person, they feel really tired and sleepy. And what's amazing is that myself, and I know my son who's in the business notices this too, is that when I take it in the morning, it does not make me sleepy at all. I'm more alert. And Sean, I know, is that way too, where he has some in the morning, and it really not only makes him alert, but makes him centered in all his business dealings. He's mentioned that his impatience with people wanting him to do something that takes up a lot of his time or something like that, it's complete, he just mellows him out just the right amount. Not like marijuana where you just get super mellow, but just takes the edge off. And it reminds me that I remember talking to a lady who was taking anti-anxiety medication, and she said, yeah, I stopped taking my medication and now I just take CBD oil.
That's really an important point, because I'd like all the men out there to think about how that might affect them, their kids, their spouses, as well as all the women out there could think about how that might affect them and their spouses and even their kids. With less than 0.3% THC, this CBD oil is not going to get you high, right?
Not at all. Not at all. It can, people, in fact, that's why it's called ditchweed, is because people kept thinking they could smoke it and make them high, and all they could do was get a headache.
Oh dear.
So, So the other things that I've seen is that several people I know who have contacted me, because I just send them to a website that is pain. A lot of people that have kind of what they call arthritic pain, kind of general, not really diagnosed, maybe, or maybe not, maybe, but that they notice that taking it internally, it seems to act like a anti-inflammatory, similar to turmeric, and so the pain is decreased by taking it internally. They also either use some of the CBD and mix it with other things to make a salve, or sometimes they just put the CBD directly on whatever part of their body is hurting. There's lots of salves out there with CBD nowadays, and I know one I use that is part of my son's business makes a huge difference for me personally. With just I get pain in my hands right here and right here. And if I remember to put the salve on at least 3 days in a row, it's gone for days, and then I forget. And so then I put it back, and then it starts to be a little painful, and then I start using it again. And so it doesn't, from my experience, it isn't necessary to do it topically every day after a while. That it actually builds up and actually heals.
Oh, that's really good to know.
I don't know about heals, but it certainly changes my experience.
Okay. One of the things that I have heard is when people take it like every day for the first 2 weeks, often it's not until the 2-week period is over that they actually start to feel results. So they are told at least start that way. And then I wondered after that, but every person is different, I'm assuming. And how much, we have had that conversation, how much is the appropriate amount to take? And again, it really depends on the person, right?
How much broccoli should you eat?
Right. It could take, some say a drop and some say a dropper.
Yeah.
But it depends again on the potency. If you get a bottle that's only 30 milligrams, you're going to be taking more than if you get one that's 50, 100, 150, or 1,000 or more, right? So what can you tell people about dosage?
There is no such thing. Dosage is not a word I would use with CBD oil. It is that a substance. It's like oil that you put under your tongue with a dropper and let it dissolve. And I always tell people to start off small, and if you don't notice anything, then do a little more and do a little more. And so until you get to the point where you feel that that's the right amount for you, that's all we can do.
That's excellent. That's important. Each person is different. I say the same thing with some of the vitamin mineral drink that I have available for people. And it really depends on, I ask them, how bad is your pain? Or how often do you get sick? How much do you weigh? And there's still no conclusive way of determining how much to take. So thank you for that. I think that'll help a lot of people. A drop might do it, a dropper full might
Right.
be good one day, might be. And I don't know if you recommend testing things, but when I often will tell people to muscle test, and it can be as simple as this.
Right.
And I'll just pick up the item or the whatever it is I'm testing, put it underneath my arm so it's close to me, or put it in front of me, and I'll say, is this something I need to take, yes or no? Or what is my yes? And if it's a hold, it's a yes for me. And if it's a breakthrough, that's a no. So I can say, do I need CBD oil? Yes. How many times a day? 1, 2 times a day. How much? 1 drop, 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops, 5 drops twice a day.
That should be 4 because you went weak at 5.
Okay, thank you. And other people think, well, you have to go to the naturopathic doctor and they've got to test you this way. And it's like, yeah, you could do that to somebody. Somebody in your family can do it for you if you like that better. I happen to like to test myself, or I know there's crazy people in health food stores that use a pendle on every single thing they buy, and it kind of drives me crazy when you have them over the broccoli. And so I take this home with me today, yes or no. It's like, okay, intuition has to click in there a little
bit. Right. Yeah. All of those things are just tools for us to get to our inner yes and no.
Thank you. That's good to remind us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you have sleep issues that you've had some success with. You've had people with pain issues. Yes. And what else have you found?
Well, something that to me is really exciting, and I haven't had a personal experience with it, but I've had somebody who got oil from me, and what they experienced was with Parkinson's. Sorry, for a minute there, I couldn't remember what it was. I'm going to call it something else. But with Parkinson's, and if you go online, there's definitely stuff written about CBD helping Parkinson's. And like we're just talking about with the sleep, I'm sure there's some people that it does help, and some people that it doesn't. But boy, if it, it's worth a try. The experience that I had, this young woman who I got to know said her father had debilitating Parkinson's, and I said, did you try CBD oil? And she said, well, he was out here and we went to some dispensaries and yeah, he tried it and didn't seem to make any difference. And so I said, I don't know what he got before, but I know the quality of what I have, and maybe you should give it another try. And she sent it to her dad, and she called me a week later and said, my dad wants to know how to get on automatic reorder because it has changed his life. Wow. He's able to go out and and hang out with his friends and just be more active, and his symptoms reduced probably by about 50%. It doesn't mean that he was healed from Parkinson's. There's no that's something I don't know, and I don't know that anybody knows, but symptom reduction is significant. Was significant for him, and I know Sean has had several people that have reported the same thing.
Excellent. Boy, I know a lot of people with Parkinson's these days.
Yeah.
Seems like an epidemic almost.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, is that also, we didn't talk about inflammatory conditions, although that's part of the pain. Is that also part of the Parkinson's, or is that separate?
I don't know. I'm not a
You're not a doctor.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I view this as a whole food that helps you to be in homeostasis. And homeostasis is in balance. And so whatever's out of balance is sort of like if In the morning, I need alertness, and in the evening, I need sleep. That whatever is going on, to me, this is like the most incredible opportunity to maintain my general health. If I had no experience of what the effect of this is on me, I would still take it because I believe that this is the best way I know of how is to get this whole food into my system, and to promote my health, just like eating blueberries is an antioxidant, and
Mm-hmm.
eating, having a balanced diet.
Mm-hmm. All those things that we are to do for ourselves. Well, you speak so well about it, and there's always the do we take it preventatively, do we take it after we get it? And I suppose the answers are always yes. And I take it preventatively, and I think I do a lot of things preventatively.
Me too.
I exercise because I don't want to lose my muscle tone. I eat really well because I don't want to get sick. I want to have my strong immune system. It seems to me, though, that the inflammatory conditions are something that's very, very big right now. People are saying that the inflammation is causing all kinds of issues. We won't really talk about the C word, but we can talk about autoimmune issues. We can talk about building up the immunity. Do you think that the CBD oil would build up the immunity or just act as an anti-inflammatory?
I have no way of knowing.
I love it when people are honest.
I don't know. I go back to what I think that's whatever is out of balance within one's body, whether it's inflammation, or what was the other thing you mentioned?
Autoimmune
issues. Those are ways that our body is communicating that we're out of balance, and I view a whole food, a full spectrum CBD is one way to create balance in your body, to contribute to that preventive and create balance in your body.
Great. You know I love that word because I've had a product for 20 years called Body Balance. Right. It's got me healthy too. And now we actually have the CBD oil as well. And we'll put on the underneath the screen the different places where you can go to find some of these things. We should probably finish up here. I think we've covered a lot of the topics that we wanted to. Do you have anything in summary to add or to bring together all that we have discussed, why people might want to try the CBD oil? And we didn't talk about seizures, which is most popular for.
Right. And that's the one thing that we've actually, the medical field is beginning to be on board with is that originally it was marijuana with low THC, but now, that's basically what hemp is. So it is being used as an anti-seizure medication, and I personally feel like it's a good idea. Let's see. I think one of the main things is that people get sort of overwhelmed with that. You can go online and there's 100 online stores with CBD.
Really?
Oh yes.
Oh my.
Yes. And I fear that there's really not a lot of quality control right now. And my concern is that people ordering CBD that either isn't, the quality isn't good, or there isn't very much in it, or whatever, that people will say, oh well, CBD is snake oil, and so I think it's really, really important to order CBD from a place, someone, either somebody you know, or a business like Body Balance that is reputable and has a long history of having outstanding conscious products. And so just know not all CBD products are the same.
You had mentioned that there are some products that have zero THC in them, and that's what the Life Force offers. But you do say that it's more costly because there's an extraction that is more intense than the normal 0.3%.
Yeah.
And do you think that there's much difference in what it can do if it has zero THC in it?
I don't know. I think again, people would have to try both and see which one feels best to them. Obviously people who are drug tested should only buy the zero. I don't have any motivation for buying the zero. It seems to me that you pay more for the zero because it's more costly to make. And I guess I go back to this whole idea of full spectrum. And that is that there's all kinds of subtle trace elements in a full spectrum CBD, and THC is one of them. That is, again, probably chewing on the fresh plant out of your garden is probably the healthiest way to eat. To juice hemp is probably your healthiest way to get it because you're getting all of the nutrients.
Okay. Excellent. Well, hopefully that will help our audience make some decisions about to use or not to use this product. I think we also, before we close, wanted to say that a couple of the reasons why hemp has not been used is because, of course, economics. Some of the great personalities that had interests in, like the paper industry, the Hearsts who had the papers, the newspapers, lobbied very strongly for against hemp and for papers, which is kind of too bad because hemp is a lot easier to grow than trees and can grow a lot faster. So that was against the hemp industry, and also the cotton industry had some heavy lobbies. You mentioned at one time the government paid farmers to grow hemp.
Yeah, because they needed it for ropes. I don't know exactly what years that was, but a friend of mine who grew up on an Iowa farm said, yeah, they were paid that at some point that farm grew hemp, and the United States government was buying it. And it was sort of the pre-plastic era. Plastics are probably one of the other strong lobbies against hemp. Hemp you can even make hemp into concrete. It's called hempcrete, and build houses with it. So clothing, all of the of paper and rope, and anything, lots of fiber kinds of uses of the plant. And then there's the nutritional, you can buy hemp powder now in grocery stores, and you can buy hemp oil that is more for putting on your salad type oil. It's not the concentrated CBD oil.
But it's good for omegas 3s and 6s, maybe 9s.
Yeah.
Which we need.
Yeah.
I always add that to my shake in the morning.
And I do hemp seeds too.
Actually, the hemp in the health food stores is hemp seed oil.
Yes, it's hemp seed oil,
Okay, to make a distinction.
Yeah.
So there's lots of good reasons for this incredible product, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of it. I think a few years ago, maybe it wasn't so economically feasible or profitable, but anymore, we're going to be a world of hemp.
Yes.
Hopefully, it'd be great if we could put it in our gas tanks. I don't know that the oil industry would like to hear that. It'd be much better for the land than the fracking.
Yes. That's even a little more political stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Sean was in before, Sean was in biodiesel before he went into hemp oil extraction. So he manufactured biodiesel for many years.
Yeah, I remember a lot of friends did that. So I think this is cleaner. It sounds like an answer to a lot of our prayers. Looking forward to trying more of it myself. So thank you for enlightening us and giving us some of your stories on how hemp CBD can help.
Yes, thanks, Sherry, for inviting me.